There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, everyone. That is the voice of your Yonko host, DrJaceAttorney, and the Yonko table is serving up another helping for Netflix animation with Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. Definitely a new series that caught most of us here at the table off guard with its announcement and just the show in general. This is fresh off the heels of us covering Castlevania Nocturne, which was the last Netflix animated special. And we got a lot to talk about with this particular show. Both it was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster for certain. But with me, as always, is fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop. Grandmaster, I ask you this every time we cover something new on the pod. Has it met the bar of Quantumania? Yes or no?
Please stop leading with this. Nobody cares. And
We
also,
do care.
these two,
care.
These things are so unrelated from one another. Please.
Is it better than the fans want to know? Is it better than Quantumania?
You don't compare these things. You really don't. You really don't. This is its own entity. It is its own thing. To say one is better than the other is not telling of either experience, so I shall not. Moving forward.
Either way, we have fellow supernovas here to deep dive Captain Laserhawk today. And all right, let's get into it. I gotta feel the room out for this because listen, I went in blind to this series, all right? I had zero expectations about anything involved with this show. The most I knew about was Rayman's in it. That's all I know.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know this show was going to exist. Like, its existence caught me by surprise. But wow, like the first 3 seconds, I was like, hey, wait, I recognize this. What is this?
I think I've heard of the show like through random trailers from like a few months back, but like I never paid it any mind. I just saw it as, oh, it's a like a cyberpunk futuristic 80s inspired show and it's gonna have fun. And that's all she wrote. But then I saw my boy Rayman, and I'm a Rayman stan. Grandmaster, are you a Rayman stan? Did you play the OG Rayman on the PS1 with the
shaking my
the
head.
cool?
Look at me.
Well, hold on.
Look at me shaking my
Nintendo
head.
64.
The Nintendo 64, Rayman 2, Rayman's Great Escape, Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc,
Shaking my head.
instant
Look at me.
classics.
I've never played a Rayman.
Oh, you're cutting off.
Life.
I can tell that that you're a fan. You're an instant fan because of how much your connection just broke right here. You're very frozen right now. Very frozen.
Can you see me now?
Yes, as I was saying, Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc, Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends. These are all
I have not played a single Rayman game. I have not played a single Rayman game.
But you played every Arkham. You played every Arkham.
We're talking about famous like video game.
Oh boy.
I was Team Spyro in my early video game days. So
Team
there you
Spyro. Not even Crash. You didn't give Crash any respect?
No, we were Team Spyro.
Wow.
Nasty Nork.
Not even Sly Cooper?
Listen, Sly Cooper's after Spyro's.
Oh boy, you see, you're cutting off a lot.
PlayStation 1 days.
I don't know.
PlayStation 1. Oh Jesus.
I don't know that.
Can you hear me now?
That connection's implying that there's some truth to be dug up here. So
I don't think there's any truth to uncover. I did not play Rayman. I will say, as far as the contents of this show goes, I recognize the Assassin's Creed robe. So
put some respect on that name.
goodness, Assassin's Creed. That's where your knowledge starts and ends with this.
Yeah. Yes,
absurd.
It is. Yes.
Toasty, help me out here. Are you a Rayman stan, or are you basic? Are you a Rainbow Six stan?
No, I didn't play Rayman either as a kid.
So I was the only one here.
God, Dr. Mono's the only one with taste.
I played it.
I was busy
I love
playing
Rayman
FIFA.
too.
I was busy playing FIFA. You know, that's my kryptonite. So no, I never played
Agreed.
Rayman.
My FIFA is my kryptonite as well. So
There we go.
I understand.
Absurd.
Quality game.
Quality
so
game.
absurd.
Just the same shit 10 years running, and we're still paying $50.
The same recycled character roster.
I'm sure you remember whenever there was the World Cup, you had to buy 2 games because you had to buy the FIFA game and then the World Cup edition of the game.
Oh yeah, like that is some genius PR right there. And we suckers buy it.
Yeah.
I'm sure if it was an Ubisoft IP, it would have appeared here as well. I'm sure it would have.
Yes.
But okay, we're either we barely knew the characters or we didn't know any of them going into it.
I know about Rayman, so yeah.
Oh, but okay, so you knew at least about like Rayman's you know Rayman. Quit shaking your head, Grandma.
I know
you
Rayman,
know Rayman.
But I didn't know this. I did not know. I had not seen any trailer. I had not seen anybody talking about this show.
Your connection is out of this world, Grandmaster. I don't know what to say.
Just like this show.
Just like, you know what, Dr. Mondo?
Just like Rayman, who's technically out of this world.
Just like Rayman. Correct.
I'll just sit this one out.
No.
Well,
reestablish your connection, and you can sit in and give your hot takes, because we know you got hot takes on a show like this. But I mean let's get into it. You know, Captain Laserhawk, right? So from what we know of this series, it is based off of Far Cry 3. Specifically Far Cry 3's DLC, which was Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. And it was this like neon dystopian 80s inspired city, this megatropolis of a game. And it had all this cheesiness, this 80s pop, this 80s cringe, but people liked it. I liked it. It was a fun series back then, or I'm sorry, a fun DLC back in the day. Have you guys ever played that DLC? Have you heard of that DLC before from Far Cry 3?
I've heard about it, have not played it.
I see. Toasty?
Yeah, I don't live under a rock, so yes, I heard about it.
Yes, good.
I also did not play it. I was not going to buy Ubisoft DLC. Come on.
Oh my. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Gotta spend the money on FIFA.
Yes, where if you spend money on Ubisoft DLC, you won't have money for FIFA, of course. And so, okay, title character, Captain Laserhawk, working together with Alex Taylor, episode 1. First off, this season's only 6 episodes, 20 to 25 minutes apiece, so very digestible series. I really don't even know where to start with this because this show goes in so many different directions, but I mean, let's just, I guess, paint the picture, right? It's, like I said, 80s inspired, like neon, cyberpunk-esque world mythos that's populated by characters from Ubisoft's brands. So we mentioned Rayman before, we mentioned Far Cry. There's some other characters in here. We got Jade and Paige from Beyond Good and Evil. We have the Niji 6, where it's not a direct reference, but it's a reference nonetheless to Rainbow Six, another Ubisoft IP. Dr. Mondo's favorite, Bullfrog, Assassin's Creed. Full rip right now. Bullfrog was the best character.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Bullfrog was the best one.
Down.
Holy crap! The fact that this man was French and he was a frog.
No, like one of the most badass action scenes. Just like even the trash talk he has. It's like, oh yeah, I have this special power. You want to see? Let's see which of you stops breathing first. Boom.
He had like a weird power. No, like he had this thing with like bubbles. Like he could cop up a random bubble. Yeah. And he can like,
and the bubble could show like the past or the future. Like it was.
I thought it was also the present.
I mean, he doesn't need does he need the present though? If he's living the present?
I mean, depending on the situation, if they're going into a place, they can use the bubble to see what's inside of the place.
Honestly, I know for sure it was at least the future and the past. Maybe there was a type of like clairvoyance where he could like see what's going on in like other rooms or something. But Bullfrog, great character. How do we feel about Dolph Laserhawk, our main character? Indifferent, good character. What do you guys think about him?
He was alright.
He was okay, Toasty?
Yeah, I mean, Bullfrog was so much better of a character compared to him. That's what makes it so difficult.
I think he was more fun. Yeah.
Every time Bullfrog was in the scene, I was laughing. I knew he was going to be a badass. He was going to drop a quote. Like at the end when Rayman walked into the prison and he was sitting by the chair and you think he's going to say something stupid, but he's just eating. Do you remember that scene? Yeah. You see? It was the scene at the end when Rayman went to see him in the prison. Stuff like that. I feel like every scene with him was interesting.
It's like, I loved how he could switch from like badass to funny to insightful on a whim.
Yeah, he was very charming.
Throughout the series, it was just like, what am I gonna get with him?
I feel like Bullfrog is a combination. Like he's clearly from Assassin's Creed. I mean, he fights like an assassin. He has the assassin's robe. But I think directly he's a mix of a bunch of assassins from Ubisoft. So he's got like the charm of Ezio. He's got the badassery of like Connor with like, you know, him flipping his blades and jumping all around the room. He has some Edward Kenway in there. Like he is like the best of all the elements.
He's a mix of all the assassins.
He's a mix of all these. Even his robe, like his robe, like his jacket, like some of it is a mix of like Black Flag while also a mix of like 2. And I'm like, you know what? I dig this. This is really nice. He's ripping off. I mean, not ripping off, but he's inspired by all these other characters. So definitely like that about Bullfrog. But goodness,
other character, Sarah Fisher.
So we get introduced to Sarah Fisher at this is where the plot gets funky.
Introduced like pretty early on. But we don't know who she is until later on.
Right. Sarah Fisher is definitely an interesting character. We're introduced to her at first as the Warden.
Pretty much Amanda Waller.
Literally, this show, I had no idea what vibe it was going for when, you know, from episode 1 until we got to the end of episode 1, which was the whole thing where it's like, hey, all you misfits are gonna work for me. You're gonna go on dangerous missions to on Eden's behalf. That was literally Suicide Squad. It's literally Suicide Squad, which is okay. We love, right, Suicide Squad for the most part.
I mean,
the James Gunn Suicide.
The Suicide Squad. Good choice. Yes, I agree. I know Grandmaster Hoop's a fan of the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Correct.
Big fan.
But
all I needed this show to do was say, So what are we? Some kind of Captain Laserhawk, Blood Dragon remix?
And that's when they can roll the credits.
Mm-hmm. That's all I needed them to say.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. We got Sarah Fisher, Paige and Jade. Paige and Jade.
We also have Dolph's love interest.
Alex Taylor. So we get introduced to them, first episode. They're a dynamic duo that's, essentially been working together, hijacking, convoys and security transportation just to meet ends meet. This is your typical 80s type of plot where characters are just in it for themselves. They're badasses, they're mercenaries, all that stuff. But then, the big plot twist, Alex Taylor betrays Dolph Laserhawk. I think that set a good tone for the story moving forward, because every turn that this series went in, it was so unexpected. The Alex Taylor betrayal was in episode 1, right? I think at the end of episode 1, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was at the end of episode 1, and that's how we get introduced to the Warden and the other characters that are, with Dolph and whatnot. Let me ask you guys this: we're because I know we're all over the place on how we feel about the show overall. Episode 1, were you hooked on episode 1, or did you need to keep watching for it to kind of build up a little bit? Were you? Because I can tell you right off rip, as soon as this smiling man appeared on screen, I was in it. I'm like, okay, this is funny. This is Rayman. He's like a news anchor. He's like giving the update with Eden and how the rebel terrorist group is like wrecking havoc throughout the city. I loved it.
I think I was hooked after that first episode.
After first episode, okay.
Because I was just like, I came into this show like completely blind. I didn't know this show existed until like I saw your text. That's how, and I didn't know what the heck it was about. I didn't know anything about Ubisoft being part of the show, all that kind of stuff. I just remember me starting the first 10 seconds and I see DedSec, and I'm like, what the?
DedSec. Oh, beautiful.
What the hell just happened here? And then I see Rayman, and I'm like, what? No, but it was like, it threw me for a loop, like the betrayal and all that, and just like, okay, so where are they gonna go from here? And the show does a great job of making you feel, oh, okay, I've seen this before. They're playing with these tropes, and then they just flip it on its head.
I think that's what the show does best. It is tropey, you're right. But I feel like it's purposeful in its tropiness, because it is inspired by those type of films and storytelling tropes that we've seen from like the 80s. Your typical cliches where you had betrayals, you had revenge plots, you had steamy love interests. It was good stuff back then, but obviously over time you're like, oh, okay, that's a little dried and done. We've seen it a million times. But I feel like they do it, like you said, they flipped it on its head in this particular story. A Grandmaster, episode 1, were you hooked? Did you need to see Iron Man, or what was your take on episode 1?
I wasn't necessarily hooked.
Oh, great God. Jesus.
Because that's such a bad thing to say. Again, I didn't know about this show, so I didn't know where it was going. So episode 1, I mean, and I didn't get it. I didn't know. I have no prior knowledge to Captain Laserhawk. So like,
you don't need it. You don't need it though.
You don't. However, you were giving me some insight prior, so I feel this is a show. It's probably best, honestly, to go in blind. Namely because I don't know. I feel it kind of heightens your experience. But either way, So, you know, episode 1, they had the moment where it like switched to a 8-bit arcade game.
That was so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say.
That hooked me. That didn't hook you.
Let me explain.
Explain.
I'll tell you the episode that hooked me, but it's not episode 1.
Okay.
But I rewatched episode 1. I watched it by myself, and then I just rewatched it with Nino Desplazado because he had not watched it either. And then that's when I started to really appreciate what they're doing here. And I really started to peeling it back to what it really was. And it was reminding me of, it was like Scott Pilgrim in a sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because, you know, it's not a video game adaptation.
Right.
It is very much, though, a tribute to video games.
Yeah.
And that it happened so much in the series that I thought I had to give them their points for that, because I thought when I finally looked at that scene again, like where it was like that 8-bit and then it turned into Nino and I were sitting there like when Dolph was first fighting the Rainbow group,
right?
He compared it to Contra. I was like, oh, now he's moving like
Metroid. It was kind of like Contra. Yeah.
Right. And I was like, okay, that's really cool, because then we'll jump to actual, you know, fluidity action and whatnot. So I was like, oh, this is actually very well done. And I kind of like the animation art style changing. But I know on my initial watch, I was not necessarily sold. I was shocked by the portrayal of Alex Taylor. And I found that to be just, I don't know. It didn't hook me, but I was like, oh, shocking. Didn't see that coming.
Right.
And then very much too on my second watch, I was like, oh man, Alex is a bad dude right off rip. He kind of he's pulling at his heartstrings the whole entire time, if you actually really pay attention to a lot of his dialogue. So I'm already giving my second watch opinions, but
that's okay.
No, I was not hooked on episode 1. It was episode 2 that hooked me.
Episode 2. I mean, that's kind of where you get kicked into high gear with the whole Suicide Squad element to the series. You get what? After the betrayal of Alex Taylor, Dolph wakes up in like the Supermax prison. A Supermax prison overseen by the Warden, who is Sarah Fisher, but we don't know her that she's Sarah Fisher just yet. And she, what's it called? Dolph is also in that Supermax prison with other Ubisoft IPs. We got, like we mentioned, Bullfrog. We have Paige and Jade from Beyond Good and Evil. There was this other guy. I personally don't know him. I'm sure he's from Ubisoft,
the boxer, and apparently
his name is Cody Rhodes.
He's a real boxer?
He's a real boxer.
No.
Wait, is he?
No, like Cody Rhodes is from a video game. The one that's inspired on a real wrestler is Kenny Omega.
No, Cody Rhodes is a real person.
He's a boxer?
A real boxer or MMA or
he's a real professional wrestler.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, WWE.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah.
So they
his ring name is Stardust.
Yeah, and he was playing himself. Yeah.
Oh, he was playing himself.
Cool.
It was him.
Yeah, it was
wow.
him.
That's funny.
Did Ubisoft make wrestling games or like
not
WWE?
Not
games?
that I'm aware of.
That's EA, right? No, that's EA.
I think it's Take-Two or 2K. I'm not sure.
It might be 2K. Oh, by the way, just let you know, I did enjoy episode 1 since you asked gracefully.
Yes, of course. Toasty,
so you know.
At any point, you could chime in and give your hot take. You don't got to ask for permission.
But no, episode 1, by the way, I did enjoy it because of the different art style. Like when they went to the video game, I like that part. It was nice.
Like that to me just shows that this is a show being made by people that really are fans of the medium of video games, and they're just here to have fun. And when I see little things like that, like I saw Metal Gear Solid in there, like, you know, when they're sneaking around with Dolph and Alex. That was fun. I saw that. I'm like, that's so funny. That's so cool.
Well, we need to shout out the showrunner and
Addie.
Addie Shankar.
Yeah. This is his.
I didn't know this, but do you know his other big name credit?
Who, Addie?
Castlevania.
Yeah.
Castlevania.
Yeah, it's part of his bootleg universe.
I did not know this guy's name prior to this show, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you didn't like Castlevania, so.
No, it's not even that, because like I thought I was following the behind the scenes of Castlevania enough as far as Powerhouse Studios animation.
Oh, and by the way, he's also the showrunner for Assassin's Creed and Devil May Cry.
Yep.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yep.
Well, those haven't come out yet, but
so he's the executive producer of Assassin's Creed that is going to come out, and he's the showrunner and executive producer of Devil May Cry.
Beautiful.
What? Right? That has a trailer, right?
Devil May Cry. Yeah, the trailer came out like maybe 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay, and then he did both Assassin's Creed series. So credit to him. He really likes his video games.
He likes his video games, but
mind you, this was definitely more of a love letter. This one,
yeah, like you mentioned, it's not really an adaptation of these characters in a way. Like it's not like he's adapting the story of Rayman or
right.
Yeah,
it's a Sandbox show.
It's a Sandbox.
Yeah, and what I'll tell you, watching this show and seeing what they did with it, I'm like, I hope Nintendo's taking notes.
Oh, what? What? For the Smash Bros movie that you want? Absolutely. I want Star Fox dropping F-bombs while he's doing a barrel roll.
Actually, honestly,
wow.
That could work.
Wow.
That could work.
Okay.
But it's like watching this show. So I'm gonna look at Bull as this example. They could have easily brought in Ezio. They could have brought in,
that would have been the simpler option.
Right? But I actually really like the idea that this world is very colorful. It's creative. The characters can go from a Super Sentai Power Ranger looking character to Rayman to a Bullfrog. Oh, and instead of just giving us an Assassin's Creed character, they said, let's craft like the origins, the mythos into this story, but let's give it to this absurdly insane Mickey Mouse type of mascot looking character. And I thought that honestly was super clever, because at first, by episode 2, I thought it was a throwaway joke. Like I was like, oh,
he's a frog.
He's a bullfrog. I'm an assassin. I'm like, okay, all right, joke's over. Joke's over. Very funny.
He's French. Oh, the pun.
Very good. But no, he's actually a full-fledged character. And I was like, oh, wow. And he's like actually badass. And he's actually has depth.
Insightful, wise.
He's probably the most wise character of the bunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Giving lectures on revenge and everything.
Yeah, so I the whole concept I find very clever. Like many type of IP universes can really take note from here.
Right. I think, because when we see characters transferring to different mediums, like if they start off as a video game and they get transferred to like a TV show or a movie, I think there's like this ironclad rule that people expect where it's like you have to adapt exactly from the source material, exactly how they are. And to a degree, that is true. That is very true. You don't want to go full on The Last Airbender 2010. You don't want to do what they did over there. But you can just make something dumb and silly that has heart, like Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. Because I'm telling you, when I was watching Rayman give like I don't know, like the next like news forecast for like what's going on in the city, I wasn't there. I wasn't sitting there thinking like, oh my god, is he gonna fight the evil dark wizard from Rayman 1? Is he gonna fight the hoodlums at some point? No, because I just had fun with this version of the character that was just interesting enough. And I think that's important.
But that only works if the show doesn't take itself seriously, if it's a comedy. Other adaptation that have changed the character, like in Halo, the TV show, which everyone forgot about, they did change the character slightly, but they messed it up because they took themselves too seriously. If this was a show that took themselves seriously, but they changed all of those characters, I doubt we're gonna like it as much as we did right now.
I think the comedy does play a role in the enjoyment of the show, but I feel like at the same time, I like the show more. I like the show more than its comedy, in the sense that it balanced a lot of things that shows like Halo that you're mentioning lacked completely. It did not have good character. Halo. It did not have good character.
It did not finish the Halo.
I did not. No, and I don't intend to.
I finished it.
I've seen enough, and I know it's terrible.
Yeah, I think I saw the first 2 episodes, and that's it. That's all I need.
And yeah, it's horrendous. It has terrible characters, terrible writing. I saw like the first, I think 3 or 4 episodes, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm done. I didn't need that in this. I saw episode 1, and I'm like, not only am I laughing, but I'm also engaged with the characters. I want them to succeed. And like
they're interesting characters because it's like they kind of, again, there's some depth to them. There's just not. It's not that, oh, you just threw in like a characters in a pot and just, let's see what happens. There is an element of chaos here, but the characters themselves, like, there's like something more to these characters.
They have a personality.
Right.
They have a personality. Right. It's very interesting. Even Dolph, who at first, like, honestly, like he's very much a Sasuke.
Like really
just wanting revenge and nothing else. And then you have Bullfrog on the other side. Revenge is not the way to go. It's like
Mon ami.
Mon ami. It's definitely, I think what's really great as far as when you have these types of characters is that, you may recognize them from their OG sources, but the show does not waste time with exposition.
Yes.
Sitting here.
It's not, I think it's not even important. Like, let's say you didn't play a single Ubisoft game in your entire life.
I think I've only played Assassin's Creed.
No, Rayman.
No, but that's the thing. So like, that's what makes the series so great. It's like, obviously, if you're a Ubisoft fan, it's an added layer that you're going to enjoy of the show.
Right.
But if you don't know anything about Ubisoft, you go in blind saying, I've never played any of these games in my entire life.
Still
I don't
enjoy
even know what
this
the hell they're talking
immensely.
About. It's still such an enjoyable show. Because you don't need to know anything about these characters to enjoy this show.
And I think it goes into what Grandmaster Hoop was saying with its second episode, which I imagine the hook, right, was the thing with Jade.
Yes.
Okay.
That caught me off guard. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because this was
like, oh, there's stakes here.
They're cool. Right. No one is safe. No one's safe. And they do it in a way where I could see some people trying to spin it as, oh, it's shock value. They just wanted to like kill off a character just to grab your attention. I disagree with that. Just because in that second episode alone, I feel like they did so much for Jade's character in the sense that I was growing to like her as a character. She had some quirks to her that were funny.
The whole bit with her and the tiger guard.
Yes, that was so funny.
Yep.
Oh, where it was like a dating sim.
And you had to choose the responses.
That was so funny.
That was so good. Yes.
That I absolutely loved that. And I mean, some people might not get this because, some people have never played Beyond Good and Evil or are aware of its development. There's a bit of a deep cut here with, you remember the plot thread where she didn't want to dress up effeminate.
A femme fatale.
Right. I don't want to be a femme fatale. Yeah. There's a deep cut to that, by the way. Back when Beyond Good and Evil was being made, Jade is the central character of that story, but when they were making this game, they wanted Jade to not be an archetype for female characters in video games, because up until that point, it was Lara Croft. And what was Lara Croft for video games?
For the Xbox One, right? PS1, PS2 era.
The first game was like PS2, GameCube era, that generation. But yeah,
Lara Croft is definitely a femme fatale.
Lara Croft's a femme fatale. She's back then she was like a sex icon in the video game industry, and that was the expectation, that female video game characters had to be like Lara Croft. They had to be hypersexualized. They had to be wearing like short shorts, busting chests and everything. But Ubisoft did not want to do that with Jade. They just wanted to make a character and have her just, have her speak for herself. And on the box cover, she's like wearing like, I think like jeans and like cargo pants. And that was not a norm back then. In a way, it was almost to the series' detriment, because that game was a commercial failure.
And we're still waiting for the sequel.
We're still waiting for the sequel 20 years later. We're never getting it. But I like that, because in this series, you get that deep cut layer where Jade is telling the warden, I don't want to dress as a femme fatale. That's not my type. And I think that's so cool, because these animators, these writers did their homework and they integrated it as a little small plot detail in the story. Not everyone's going to get it, and that's okay. But the people that are aware of it, they can make that connection, and that it makes little lines like that just stick out that much more. At least for me, I saw that, I'm like, wow, that was nice. I'm glad she said that, because that goes back to history as to how her character was incepted. That's cool for me.
But you see, my issue with it is that they kill her too early, because I was hoping they could use her character to actually hype up their game, their sequel or prequel game they were supposed to create with her. Because the commercial came out, the trailer came out like 5 years ago.
You want her alive for product consumption.
Yes, I do, because I've been waiting for that game, and I saw the commercial, and I was hyped.
You're waiting for the game that you never played the original of.
You're bringing your video game once into this, and not looking at it as a standalone
show.
That's true.
Nobody's
I still want the video game.
No,
you can want it.
You can want it.
And this maybe it will spark. Maybe it will be like, oh, let me do my research.
And with the ending, we'll save it for the end.
Yeah,
we'll save it for the end, because there's implications as to, hey, we may see her again. We don't know. But going back to episode 2, I was already hooked with episode 1. But in terms of me binging it right afterwards, that death scene with Jade and Paige is like freaking out. Obviously, she was killed by Pagan Min. Who's
Far Cry
4, performed by Troy Baker in Far Cry 4. Not in this series. But that definitely caught me off guard. I'm like, oh wow, it's like you said, no one's safe. Anything can happen in this show. I thought there was gonna be some twist where, like, I don't know, Jade had like cybernetics in her and that didn't hit a vital, and it's like, no, that's not the case. Dolph gave the go-ahead to the ward and say, blow her head right now,
so we can get the fuck out.
And it was crazy. I was hooked.
Well, once he said blow her head, I was like, oh yeah, she's not coming back.
She's not. She's gone.
But at the same time, like, I kind of expected the death a little bit, just a little, because of one thing she says.
Was it their talk in the beginning with the...
Yeah, she said, it's like, if my head blows off, I just want you guys to look away.
There were death flags early, very early.
That was like, oh, she's gonna die.
Right. I mean...
She also dropped a comment along the line, like, if we do this, one of us is gonna die no matter what.
She said she had a conversation with Paige, who's her companion, her uncle figure, the pig, and they had something along the lines of where they implied like, hey, if we don't make it out of this,
he fell in love with her, a real Beauty and the Beast.
That was really weird.
It was.
That was super weird, just because
she called it out too.
She called it out, right? She's like, you're my uncle. I see you as an uncle. Like, what is this? And it was just super awkward and weird.
Yeah, it was really awkward.
She shut it down right away. But either way, I mean, she bites the big one in episode 2, and I think it's also in episode 2, right? Do we see the breakdown of Rayman? Does he start like cracking at the seams? Not yet.
No.
Not
think
yet.
Rayman's breakdown comes at the end of episode. That's another twist. That's another twist moment with Rayman.
That was episode 3.
That's at the end of episode 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, what happens in the transition from 2 to 3?
I can't remember how it works, but what they do it perfectly, because what we always see the talk show Rayman, and
at the beginning of every episode.
And then some, but at times then it would cut to Rayman drinking or doing cocaine, and you think, oh, this is just Rayman in his off hours, right?
Right.
And it's not until you see Rayman watch Rayman on TV where he's like, what the fuck? And I think that's where they cut the episode. It was because of the you get introduced to another layer of this show, the prejudice that the hybrids, because so their society is split amongst humans, which are just normal people, and then the what the hell kind of creatures are these on the other side. So those are your hybrids. Those are like your pages, your bullfrogs. Anyone that's non-human is considered a hybrid. And there's a scene, I think it's in episode 3, like you mentioned, where Rayman is interviewing, I think this is after the Niji 6 face off against like Laserhawk, and they stopped another terrorist attack from the rebels. And I think the red Niji, he let loose a comment that slipped about I think he says something along the lines of all hybrids are the same, or all you hybrids are the same. And Rayman, live on air, is like, excuse me? What did you say? And the red Niji, he didn't back down. He's like, I said what I said. And I think that's when Rayman threw it back in his face. He swore up a storm live on television, and the board of directors, which is that's where you start seeing Rayman cracking down, where you start seeing him like drinking. So I didn't even realize that is the moment that they replaced him.
That was when they replaced, because the board of directors, they came on the screen to tell Rayman, hey, you messed up live on air. And Rayman was swearing up a storm, saying, did you hear what he said about me on TV?
That is so, I think it was so seamless for me. I didn't even realize until Rayman realized it himself that he was replaced. I thought that was so good.
If I remember correctly, the Red Ranger wasn't talking about the hybrid. He was actually talking about the third party, which were
the aliens. Yeah, he was talking about aliens.
He mentioned the alien because they had just defeated the two bunny.
Oh my god,
the rabbits. The rabbits. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
they
right.
defeated the two rabbits, and he said, "Yeah, there's interdimensional scums or something." And Raymond's like, I was a refugee.
I was a refugee. You're right.
Yeah, there we go. So it's 3 different type of characters.
There's
the human, hybrid, and then aliens.
That's so good.
Monsters.
When I saw those rabbits, I was like, those are the rabbits. They're
yes,
demented.
The raving rabbits. They look like monsters.
Yeah. They were kaijus. It's like, wow. Okay. So like that little bit, because I recognized clearly, and I was like, that's funny. That's actually really funny.
They're from the same world Rayman is, and
right.
I saw someone. This is why I liked Rayman as a character in here, because I feel like there's a misconception going around on social media when they're bringing up this show and they're mentioning like, oh, Ray, is that the edgy Rayman? Oh, Rayman's packing two double shotguns and and Kimbo.
I have a take on that.
And I do have thoughts on that as well, but I think at least as far as Rayman, like, you know, doing drugs here and drinking, I feel like in a way it's realistic to the character. Now, right? We all know Rayman to a degree. He's like your rated E for everyone mascot. In a way, he's kind of like Mickey Mouse to Ubisoft. That's what he is. He's your kid-friendly 2D or 3D side-scrolling platformer, and that's it. That's all he is. In his world, in Rayman's world, good and evil is black and white. There's no in between. There's no gray area. No gray zone whatsoever. So Rayman, coming into this world, he gets indoctrinated. Well, he goes to college. Good for Rayman. He went to college.
Yes.
He got his degree, did his 4 years and everything. And he's raised up as the spokesperson for Eden. And he's essentially like their mascot. Unbeknownst to him, where he's telling people like Eden's good, Eden's great. These other groups of people that are trying to take you from Eden, they're like, you know, your DedSec, your Marcus Holloway. They're a terrorist organization. We are the heroes of this story. Rayman is very susceptible to this because A, he wanted to be accepted in this new world, and B, there's no gray area. He thinks like, okay, Eden are the good guys. They're protecting their law and order in this world.
They saved him, by the way, because remember he couldn't find a job after college because he kept getting kicked out.
Exactly. Exactly. So for him,
so he feels indebted to Eden. Even
and he says that. He says that. They helped him when he was at his lowest. So for him to be, when he finally falls from grace and he starts doing things like drugs and alcohol, I'm like, you know what? Someone as pure as Rayman, I could see him being corrupted by this world's like this world's drugs, it's alcohol, it's women hybrids, like, you know, that sushi thing he was eating at the end of episode 3 off of that cowgirl. To me, this was a take on the character where it's like, if you dropped him into this world, this is a scenario that could turn out for him for better or worse. And it's I loved this take on the character, but there is a scene later on that we all know, with the whole slicked back hair, trench coat, Ramon. and he goes
in. Character.
That scene killed me. No, but honestly, a part of me wanted to see Rayman just jump off the building and helicopter down.
Oh hell! Oh, with his hair, his hair. Yes, yes.
Or just like punch someone with.
I wanted him to. I mean, he did like a judo chop with his hand on like a guard. I'm like, oh come on, do the punch, do the punch. Grandmaster Hoop. When Rayman punches people, he does this thing where he revs up his fist and he spins it, and then he throws it, and it goes like God knows how far away, and it hits people, and it does damage, and it's really cool. It's really nice. I think you would like it. I think you would like Rayman. Rayman's the cool kid on the block.
Are you telling me to play the game? Is that what you're trying to say?
Will you?
Probably not.
Wow. Okay.
I like Rayman.
You like your bats?
Ramon. I like Ramon. I am fine with Ramon. So look at us talking about Rayman. He's not the main character. He's just
a background character.
Well, no, it's not that he's a background. He's like tangential to the plot. He's not like relevant to the plot until he becomes relevant to the plot. Which is a very fun idea for a character like Rayman, because you would think, because he is the most iconic person in this cast, and yet he's Jimmy Fallon. What would happen if Jimmy Fallon was booted off?
Right. It's an interesting take on the character, and again, it's going back to having fun. We mentioned it with Bullfrog, where it's like we could have just had Ezio be the stand-in for Assassin's Creed, but what if we didn't do that? What if we just did something so stupid and made a frog an assassin? So
Honestly,
that was
that's
fun.
the best part.
It was.
Like, I give them credit for this. They knew what they were doing. It's really difficult for you to have so many characters and have all of them be so enjoyable.
Mhm.
Like, I can't really name a character that I thought anyway that was horrible. There were characters that I loved more than other characters, but they were all great in a certain way.
Yeah.
Right. No,
They must be given credit for it. It's incredible, really.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, you do get some level of depth when you go from like episode 3 and 4, because at that point, you start getting introduced to like someone like Sarah Fisher, which you get a whole segment dedicated to her. Well,
Sarah Fisher,
she's here. Let's talk about her.
Is Sarah Fisher actually a character in like the original?
Yes.
Okay.
In the original Splinter Cell, she is the daughter of Sam Fisher. Mind you, that is all she is in the original Splinter Cell. Like, she is just the daughter of the main the main government agent that goes into foreign countries and like assassinates people. That is all she is. And here they blew her up into a whole character. And I'm like, what? Sarah Fisher of all? I'm here for it, but I'm like, Sarah Fisher? Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I played some of this Splinter Cell, Splinter Cell game, but I never remember her being an actual character.
She's never like I think like once or twice maybe you see her on screen in one of the games. You usually hear her mentioned. Like maybe Sam will call her up on like in between a mission and be like, "Hey Sarah, honey, how are you doing? Did you do this? Did you take out the trash? Okay, that's good. I'm glad." Stuff like that, minor stuff. But I mean, Grandmaster, we were talking about Sarah Fisher. Did you like Sarah Fisher?
Goodness. Are we at the twist or just her in general?
We're just I guess her in general.
We're approaching.
We're approaching the twist.
As a character, I was starting to grow with her. Like, she wanted to, which at certain points I didn't even really know who she was trying to take down. Well, in the beginning, she needed Pagan alive. But I forgot why she needed him alive.
She never said.
Right. I don't recall the mission, but I was starting to grow with her as far as she could have easily blown up all of them from the get-go if she really wanted to. Clearly she needed them. Clearly then they start kind of working together a little bit, and then shit hits the fan, and then she has those 1v1s with Laserhawk, and she's got that backstory, and I was like, wow, cool. She was like brain warped. She was a Rayman kid.
Wow.
Like, selling secrets to Rayman. I was like, oh no, your dad was such a good guy. Like doing the good fight, and you do this?
Sam Fisher's a war hero, damn it.
And so, and then, I got to the point where I'm like, oh, it's a redemption story. She finally saw that her father was right. So I was really vibing with her. Clearly I didn't play Splinter Cell.
Definitely, I was also vibing with her. I was like, okay. And
it's just a giant rug pull. That's what it was. Like, you didn't think you were standing on a rug. You thought the twist was she's redeeming herself, trying to join the fight. Never once did you probably think that. We
could talk about it. Go ahead.
Well, God, because she meets up with Marcus, and he's rightfully weary about trusting her, given her past and what she did, and he convinces her. We also got to
Right.
talk about the twist as far as what Eden was doing to all those people.
Wait, but
Well,
like, I think,
Oh my God, the twist.
oh, like the VR.
The VR. That was so
That was hilarious.
that was both funny and so dystopian. In
The Matrix.
In some of it's literally the Matrix, but like in the funniest and screwed up type of ways, because like, what is it? They capture you, right? If you're considered like a rebel or a terrorist, or if you threaten the sanctity of Eden, you basically get put into this VR simulator where you're playing this garbage version of Crazy Taxi, where you have 30 seconds to like take your passenger to their destination, and it's with bad controls, because even Marcus Holloway was like, "What? How do I go forward? What?" You get barely enough time. If you don't make it in time, you're getting electrocuted. But there's a twist to that too, because apparently
they're connected to like the robots in the real world that are like the taxi drivers.
that are the AI, anything that's AI driven.
They're the service. Yeah, they're just they work
Right.
up the workforce, the service force.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I like how Rayman spins it as like, when they capture these people, they're supposedly being sent to like a reformation camp where they could eventually learn the good of Eden and be introduced back into society. Little does he know, they ain't ever getting out. they are not being reformed whatsoever. And I mean, my God, I remember with Marcus Holloway when they showed that, when they because you know, this was during like the whole Splinter Cell like backstory with Sam Fisher, which, by the way, that was a weird twist, or I guess a strange version of the character. He doesn't have his legs. I don't know why.
You assume he lost it in a battle or something.
I assume that he did,
granted,
but it's a version of the character that I did not expect them to have in this whatsoever.
He was still a badass though.
He was still a badass.
Yeah.
He was still a badass.
They need to give him a handicap.
So it was definitely interesting. But then, you know, they had that whole battle of the Supermax, or wherever they had their final battle at, for the Rebel Alliance against the evil Empire.
Oh, what is now the Wasteland?
It's called the Wasteland, and they lost. And anyone that was alive, they captured them, put them inside this VR headset, and Marcus Holloway was stuck in there for 8 years. And I'm like, damn,
playing that game.
8 years? Like non-stop. I don't know. That was just so cruel and insane to me. I'm like, dude, honestly, I could see some government doing this to people.
Yeah.
But no, if you think about it, it's a good reference to like the old video game from the PS2 era, when you had to deliver things from point A to point B.
That was
and
the
they would
other
barely
thing about it.
give you time.
Yeah. No, it was a way where
the Spider-Man pizza delivery mission. I'm sure we all play Spider-Man.
It was a tribute
PS2.
on top of a twisted look at
layers.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, it looks like Crazy Taxi. And then, you know, the design too, it looked like some
they look like Mii's,
like Dreamcast type looking game, you know.
Oh, I guess Dreamcast, yeah.
Well, in all the video game references throughout the show, you can definitely tell which eras they were trying to kind of evoke,
emulate.
So that one was very simplistic in nature. So it was like very early 3D type consoles and whatnot.
Right.
And on top of that layer, it was a torture device.
Right. I mean, it was eventually, at least Marcus breaks free, and I don't know what he's doing out in the wasteland. I don't remember.
He's forming an army.
He's forming an army. Okay.
He's building the alliance, the Rebel Alliance.
The Rebel Alliance.
He's the number one threat because he's out here doing watchdog things and, you know, being a cyber terrorist.
Right.
He's from Watch Dogs, right?
He's from Watch Dogs 2 specifically.
Yeah.
He's actually the only good character in the Watch Dogs
Like honestly, like
series.
Watch Dogs, the first game is bleh. The second one, the second game, which is the one where Marcus is in, that game is good.
That game is good.
That game is good.
Yes. So what's it called? Marcus Holloway. He eventually basically captures, I think, the Warden and Dolph.
They end up in the wasteland, and
Right.
they get a hold of Dolph and the Warden. And you know, they have that one-on-one,
right,
where she very much is reformed.
You're not assuming there's a rug underneath you.
Not at all. It was so well done because it's just very believable that she was like, I've seen that my father was right. Eden is bad. They're out here killing hybrids and putting these people in these pods and doing this stuff. Like, you know, and then even her flashback too, it was very like gripping, like when she was like on the phone with her dad and she's like, well, my dad's a traitor. I was like, oh my god,
she hates him.
You're right.
Yeah, like honestly, it was like the character of Sarah Fisher was just, it threw you for a roller coaster because it's like you get her story. Like first, you know, she's like the Amanda, like when she comes into the series, she's like Amanda Waller. There's something about her, like she's working for her own gains, but it's very like mysterious and all that. Then like you get her backstory, and at the beginning you hate her with her backstory. You're like, you little bitch. It's like,
right. No, she threw her dad under the bus.
Like, look at what and her dad was trying to get her out.
Right.
Like her dad was breaking every law imaginable so that she could be free. And then like you see her kind of tell you, like she fools the characters in the show and she fools you into believing her story, that she's like, oh, I want to be redeemed, you know, like I know, like I saw the error of my ways, I saw like everything that I've done, I just want, like, I want to destroy Eden from the inside.
In a way, the viewer is supposed to be Marcus in this scenario, because like, you know what Sarah did in her past, and now she has to convince you, Marcus, that she's not the same person as she was before. She wants to make a difference. And I like Marcus at first because Marcus ain't buying it. Marcus is not like, buying it in the beginning. He's like, listen, because of her, I was stuck in VR hell for 8 years. I'm not just going to automatically believe her when she breaks down the door and says, yes, let's take down Eden. Nope, you got to work for it. You got to convince me. And she had to work for it. And damn, what can the Oscar for this year for best performance go to Sarah Fisher? Because holy hell,
she did a good job convincing all of us.
She convinced all of us. I was convinced.
I was so convinced. Then the purple caution lights start flickering. A virus. And then
that's like, right.
What? And then he looks at her and is like, oh shit. And I was like, oh no.
It was a trap.
And then not only that, she drops the, you know, fool me once, shame on me.
Right.
Fool me twice, shame on you. And I was like, wow. She really sold that like delivery, and she transforms into this spider bot. I was like, fuck.
And again, well, this kind of like in a way skips to the end a little bit where, you know, that explosion happens, but it's another layer. Sam Fisher, he could have at any point gotten cybernetic legs to replace what he lost, because I imagine he had legs before, but you know, through a mission he ended up losing them. But he never once got cybernetic legs, and there's a purpose to that, because when Sarah, back when she was still in the academy being trained at Eden, she was telling Sam, hey, I'm gonna undergo
cybernetic enhancements.
I'm gonna undergo the cybernetic program, and they're gonna fit me with cybernetics. And Sam loses it. he's like, Sarah, you're gonna let them poke and prod your body and make you less of a human? Like, what are you talking about? Like, he was so worried for his daughter. And fast forward to here, like, you see the spider legs come out, you're like, oh, she did it.
She's no longer human.
She didn't just do like prosthetics and whatnot. She did the
full
whole
on
thing.
Everything. Face. I mean, you get revealed to that at the end. You know, she's full on like cybernetic, and it's crazy. And you know, some people, I feel like they're really not getting the purpose of Sarah Fisher. Some people are saying they don't like Sarah Fisher. Like they think she's a poorly written character because they think that they're saying, and when I say they, I'm saying, like, you know, whatever minority of people want to say that this show was mid, which, by the way, they're wrong. But
I mean, some people have stupid opinion. That's a fact.
Yes, that is true. But to these people, they're saying, yeah, Sarah's a poorly written character because she flip-flops. Like, what's the deal with this? And it's like, no, she's not flip-flopping. She is twisted from the beginning. As a child,
she's been playing the game the whole time.
She's been playing the game the whole time.
She's been playing everyone in the series, and she played us.
And she played us. This was not her like having a sense of reform for like a couple of minutes, and then she realized, wait a minute, I could still be evil if I wanted to. No, she was evil from the beginning. She played everyone. This was like she played 4D chess with everyone, and she won. She won. Now, well, we'll see if she won in season 2. If there is season 2,
everything she did was to get to Marcus and get in there. And she
right.
did. She got in. She starts hacking away. You know, and then Marcus, he's combating her and he's doing great in that little Galaga 8-bit boss fight.
Yeah, that little hacking where he was hacking.
Yeah, he's like, your virus ain't that hard, and then she starts turning on the people in the pods.
Right.
Impaling
them.
Just, right through the head. I'm like, oh, she's bad. Like, there's no coming back.
Bad. She's bad.
Done. She's done. It's over.
There's no that redemption arc is down the toilet. That is down the toilet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, I gotta say, like, if they managed to write a redemption arc for this bitch, wow. I'm just gonna say.
No, there's no coming back. There's no coming back.
But like,
it's
I'm
impossible.
Just saying, like, if they manage to do it, I'm just like,
you know what? That'd be difficult, but they convinced me with this here, where there apparently was never a redemption, and there was a twist. There was a twist that she was evil. Yeah. So
we all got played. Honestly, like, this series does a great job of playing you.
It does.
Alan plays you.
Yes.
Alan plays you throughout the entire series until his death. And Sarah, and then and also like that, because like you think, oh, the entire series is gonna be Dolph going against Alan. Yeah, Alan dies halfway.
You mean Alex?
Oh, Alex.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I thought it was gonna be that too with Alex. I thought he was gonna be the central antagonist, and you know, Dolph was gonna want revenge against him.
Boom. They kill
Interestingly, that's a parallel right there. You know, Alex didn't fall for, you know, I'm sorry, Dolph did not fall for Alex's plea, you know, at the very end, where it was like, you know, hey, I still love you, Dolph. Be with me. I did it all for
he
us.
just shoots him right there.
You know, he shoots him right there. He's not having it. And then, but you know, Holloway, he gives her the second chance.
Right.
You know.
Oh,
Dolph convinces him. Dolph is the one that convinces Marcus.
Dolph is the final one. Yeah. Dolph.
Because like Marcus was literally like, he let Dolph go. It's like, I have nothing against you. And then like Dolph is the one that convinces Marcus, because Marcus is like, hell to the fuck no. And Marcus, I loved when she says, like, when she reveals like her true intent, and he's like, fuck, I should have trusted my gut. He's like,
Yep. And I mean, she left a present for Marcus too. I'm sorry, for Dolph too.
Dolph.
She uploaded that virus into his arm.
And
It
when
was
he
an
realized
upgrade.
it too, yeah. That was good. That was really good. It was.
She played everyone. She played everyone.
this
Oh
show
my
really-
gosh!
It really
Hold
did a great job in that.
Did we talk about the live action bit?
We skipped over it a little bit.
Oh my gosh!
I'll be honest. I was not too big on it.
I thought
yeah.
that was such a cool layer. I'm throwing that out there.
Layer as in what? Like the animation or what?
As far as because there are video games like that.
There are.
And,
or I saw
pieces of medium that do that.
I mean, I've seen it inspired like from like Command and Conquer, like back in the day. They had like digitized live action actors, or Mortal Kombat, the OG Mortal Kombat.
It's an inspired decision to go that route.
Right. I think the reason why I wasn't too big on it, I feel like, I mean, I'm assuming it's his VA. The VA that plays Dolph,
Didn't look like him.
he didn't look like him. He looked like he looked like a different person. No, he did. Like I wasn't
assumed
expecting
Dolph
it.
was gonna be like Indian or something. The guy was white as snow.
No, he was not. No, he was.
Were you paying
definitely
attention?
not.
Because you did step away at the end.
You need to look at him again. He is definitely not white as snow. He is definitely like a brown skin for sure. I think that was intentional, and that also gets me to think that all the casting was intentional, because the girl who played Sarah, that was her too. That was the voice actress.
Right.
Oh.
That one,
Yeah.
I thought she did look a lot like her.
So
Yes.
no, that makes me think the animated character models are actually based on the live action voice actors. Like they drew them out first, because right, you said Sarah wasn't much of a character in the
Right. I could tell you now,
like,
whatever
no,
she
yeah,
looks
it was
like here.
That was Nathaniel
and-
Curtis. So yeah,
and-
like it was the voice cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, however Sarah Fisher looks like here, that she does not look like that at all in the games. Like, if anything, this is a glow up for her character. This version of her.
Yeah, Toasty, go look at this guy, Nathaniel Curtis. He looks just like Dolph. He's just probably not.
Toasty gonna
ADS
say you need a
ripped.
new pair of glasses.
You need to look again. He's not white as day. I don't know where you're looking.
It was
Nathaniel
that
Curtis,
digitized sprite. It was too
Okay,
blurry.
you know what? Yeah, looking at him with the picture, he does look more like the character in his real life picture. But in the show, he didn't look that tan to me.
Fair. But yeah,
'cause I could see it right now.
I think this is where like the plot kind of just also slowed down a little bit.
well, yeah.
For obvious reasons.
They wanted you to relish that. Hey, look
Yeah.
what we did.
Yeah. They wanted they wanted time to tell a backstory of like Sarah. They wanted you to have Sarah and Dolph bonding, and Dolph kind of, peeling back his layers as well. He's not just this revenge driven character. He also, he cares for his friends. He left Marcus Holloway to go save Bullfrog. He's like, hey, I'm going back to Eden. I'm gonna save Bullfrog because he's gonna be executed live on television. And we get that fight sequence with Dolph and the Niji 6. That was super cool.
So they're from a game. They're from a game.
They are not from a game specifically.
They're loosely based on characters of a game.
They're loosely based off of Rainbow Six, because there's 6 of them, and they're a rainbow, right? And I think Niji is rainbow in Japanese. I'm not sure. I think it is, but that's what they're based on. Other than that, no, there's no like Super Sentai Power Ranger characters in that,
Right, so
that
they
Ubisoft
just
has.
ran with the concept and said, let them be our
Rainbow Six representation.
The seven of the Power Rangers. Like Power Rangers meets the 7 from The Boys.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
That's true.
Yes, the boys.
Right. Where they're just not good people.
They're not good people. They're not good people.
No, but the one that saves Bullfrog is Ramon.
So let's talk about him. Ramon, before he becomes Ramon, he starts questioning, first off, someone from the board of directors, who we don't know who it is, but someone from the board of directors, tells Rayman, like, go talk to the Bullfrog.
We know who it is.
Oh,
we know
wait,
who
wait.
it is.
So starting at the board of directors, another Assassin's Creed reference there.
Well,
The
let me tell you.
Oh,
one.
the Templars, yes.
I knew that was coming as far as the Templars.
I knew they were going to be the Templars. I played Assassin's Creed 2 and 3.
The group is called Eden. The group is called Eden.
An apple of Eden. Ooh, Assassin's Creed.
I also expected it too, because I was like, Eden, Assassin's Creed, the Templars have to be here. Like,
Right.
There's no way.
Which is still, I think, a good choice to have them sitting at the top.
Exactly. No. It fits in perfectly.
So
I think it was Sigma, because when you go back to that final shot,
the Sigma
Rayman,
chair is missing.
the Sigma chair is missing.
And the Sigma
Yes.
insignia is on the back of Sarah, implying that was her seat, right?
Oh, is that what that was?
Right? Isn't that what
Is
it
it?
was?
Oh, I just took it as Sigma's missing. And Sigma probably was the one.
No, I took it because, okay, so all of them, so all the board directors, they have like a code. So you have Alpha, you have Beta, I think there was Omega in there. They all have it. I did go back to rewatch some of the scenes before Ramon goes in and obliterates them. There is a chair missing. It's very hard to spot, but there's an empty chair amongst their boardroom meeting. And then after Ramon does his thing and all the board directors are done, the camera zooms in on a chair, and like you said, there's the Sigma logo on it, and you're wondering, wait, that chair doesn't have any blood. It's missing. At the end of this, at the end of episode 6, when I'm jumping ahead, but Dolph comes back and he does that cool thing where he's like beep and he blows his head up with Sarah to try and take her out. She doesn't die. Her skin is like removed now. She's full cybernetic. Her neck has the Sigma insignia on it.
Oh, that
and,
is.
Oh, are you intrigued now, Toasty? Is it a deep cut?
She is Sigma.
She is Sigma.
No, that is interesting. Yeah.
So what I was going back with Grandmaster Hoop, are you saying, was she the one that told Rayman to talk to Bullfrog? Was that what you were implying?
Oh, well, I didn't think she was Sigma. I just figured Sigma told Rayman to talk to the frog. But this would make sense also too, given the ending, as far as Sarah telling Marcus, if you want to change Eden so bad, you have to change it from within, the inside.
Right.
And I'm offering you a seat.
A seat, specifically. A seat.
In other words, it's like pretty much her game plan was, as she was saying, it's like, oh, it's the same old board. It's the same old men. The ones that, it's like, she wanted to just like clean the table.
Right. Soft reset.
It's like she sees a part of her father's vision. She just has a very sick, twisted way of going about.
She has a very warped logic, and when it comes to like how the world should be.
Right.
And
right.
There could be some. It's like, I think that will let you add an additional layer to her saying. It's like, so maybe like what she was saying, in the virtual reality, they were like half truths. It's like,
like Assassin's Creed.
It's like not, she wasn't being completely honest, but she wasn't lying. She was just saying what you wanted to hear, but I want to destroy Eden. For my father was right, but like she misinterprets everything that her father stood up for. And it's like she wants to destroy Eden to create something worse.
Right.
And
whatever that is,
I think that adds,
we are not sure.
Like it adds even more to the character. It's just like this character is just twisted beyond comprehension.
She's a well-written villain. She is great. So anyone that's saying,
antagonist, I'll call her the antagonist for now.
Listen, she killed people. She killed innocent people.
An antagonist is is the opposing force.
Actually, but she literally, poked somebody in the head and
impaled them.
She may have room for redemption.
You're the guy in the room. You're the guy in the room that after she impales that person's head, and Marcus says, "How dare you, you villain!" You're gonna say, "Actually, she's an antagonist. She's an antagonist, not a villain."
But at this point, we don't know what's actually.
We don't know her motivation, Marcus. We don't
know what's her, and we don't know what's the cybernetic enhancements and whatnot. I'm not leaving anything on the table at this point, because I didn't even think she was Sigma. So there's obviously something larger at play here. So I'm very intrigued where she goes next with this proposal she leaves with Marcus.
Now, what about Ramon?
All right, do you understand? He had his he's the Punisher. That's his Punisher origin story.
Yeah.
As in like literal, like
literal Punisher. Not to mention, Addie Shankar did a Punisher story for the thing you were mentioning, the bootleg universe.
Oh,
he's got Punisher titles under him.
Oh, you know what? No, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that was like a weird thing. I'm like, oh yeah, he did Punisher.
And he got Thomas Jane. I'm reading it now. He got Thomas Jane from 2004 Punisher to come reprise the role as Punisher.
Wow, insane.
So Ramon is freaking the Punisher. Yeah, that's my takeaway from it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And could you buy Rayman rocking these artillery weapons and
can I buy
blasted?
Yes, because I don't have this. You haven't played Rayman? You don't know about the Rayman punch?
If you saw Mickey Mouse coming in with like Uzis and blasting everyone.
We've already seen Mickey Mouse walk around in Organization 13 drip with
right, because black cloaks are equivalent to rocking guns.
If he pulls out the sticky, I'm not gonna be surprised.
No, BS, complete BS. No.
What else you got under that coat, Mick? Come on, Mickey with the sticky.
Gross. I didn't mind Ramon with the guns. It was funny. It was funny.
And it works too. It works. Call it off.
Oh, right. Because he did it to stop the execution of
he saved Bull.
He saved Bull, and he eliminated the people that ruined his life and took him for a fool. Because like we said earlier, he was so gullible and naive enough from his world, because that's how he was from his world. He didn't know what he was doing was basically almost like a dictatorship in a way. He was the propaganda piece that was keeping the status quo in check.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And he didn't know.
Boy.
He's a poster boy. And I like that. I like because me going in here, I kind of almost thought that Rayman was going to be, in a way, kind of like a piece of shit character, or he was going to be like an evil person. And I'm like, I mean, I guess that could be funny, but that's not really Rayman. But I like this take better. Yeah, he's still a good person.
It's how his naivete is exposed and how he kind of like, he grows up.
He grows in a very violent way, but he grows up. He grows up, and I mean, we don't know of his fate. I mean, he eliminated the board of directors except for Sigma, and he's kind of just laying there accepting his fate. Whoever's gonna come in and, I don't know, arrest him or do whatever. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? But we leave Ramon there. We mentioned Dolph, blowing himself up to try and take out Sarah Fisher to no avail. And that's kind of where the episode ends. And Marcus is like, holy hell, what is this thing? Like, she does not know how to die. And but then you get a little bit of a plot twist, right? Which, again, another gaming reference. I want to say this is in reference to Undertale, but it may be in reference to other video games too of the same like. But you get this like 16-bit, 8-bit style version of like Dolph waking up, and what is it? Grandmaster. It's Sam. It's Sam, and what? It was like a backup. A backup is loaded up. We don't know if it's like to a new body.
Yeah, it was like a save file.
Like a save file.
Yeah,
like a save file.
It goes to like the game menu.
Right.
Then, ask continue.
You hesitated. He hesitated like, no, yes, yes, continue.
And clearly, Sam is alive and well, and he's like, now this is the real fight. This is where we really fight, which I'm like, what? Oh.
But wait, that made me question, because in the vision that Sarah had, she saw her dad get shut up like 20 times.
That's right.
Are they going to explain how he lived?
Well, this is going back also to some of the other characters we saw die in this show, like Jade, Paige. We don't know why exactly there's a backup of Captain Laserhawk, of Dolph, basically.
I'm assuming the mask, because he was somewhat.
It could be that he's cybernetic, or it could be.
Remember that they stole like a video game?
They did that was the mission,
at
right?
The beginning. Yeah.
They never explained what the hell was that.
They did not.
I feel like if there's again, you could just say it's the cybernetics of Dolph that let him, back himself up or whatever. At the same time, it could also be that there are backups of the other characters.
That could have been a memory card.
It could have been a memory card tying it back to the games. There could be backups of Jade, of Paige, of Sam, which is why we see Sam alive. Technically,
so load up save points,
load up
checkpoints,
loading up save points and checkpoints. It could also be with Sam. The thing with Sam is we never got to see physically how he actually died. What we saw was a hologram that Marcus Holloway was showing Sarah. For all we know, that ain't real. That's not how Sam died. He still doesn't trust her. Maybe there was just a segment of, or maybe also, maybe Marcus actually did think Sam died in that way. He thinks he's dead, but in typical Sam Fisher fashion, this going back to his games, this man is like 30 steps ahead of everyone. So him being alive, I buy. It's just a question of, okay, so what did we see then in that hologram? He was shot up. Was that fake? Was that real? And there was a backup of him. We'll get that in a potential season 2, but that's basically where the season ends. And I feel like it left off in a great place.
Now, like, could Alex Taylor have been working with Sam Fisher and we never knew?
Alex, technically, they would have both been fighting for the same thing, although different methods, because at least the version of Sam that I'm aware of, he wouldn't sacrifice people to...
Well, the biggest thing, too, was that Dolph did not want to fight in the...
He did not, right. It was just me, myself, and I, and also Alex, assuming Alex was still with him.
Alex kind of had a warped kind of sense of helping the cause.
Yeah.
Right. So, maybe Alex is alive.
Alex could be alive.
If Sam is part of this, leading the way, and I leave nothing on the table.
I think it's gonna be, what the hell was that video game or whatever that they stole at the beginning? because they never explain what the hell that is. That could have been like a save file, like a memory.
Could have been a save file. Yeah. You know what? It could have just been a memory card.
And honestly, like Alex, despite betraying Dolph, like Alex, he's very much like, I think it's like obvious. It's like, yes, you know, like he does care about Dolph.
Yes. That's for certain.
Because when Pagan is like killed, you know, like while they're trying to escape, and Pagan, like they shoot his leg off, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like Alex doesn't give a fuck. There. But with Dolph, he's like, he's betraying Dolph, but like throughout the entire time, he's saying like, this is not easy on me. I'm just doing what needs to be done, and I'm willing to make the sacrifices, even if it includes sacrificing you, which is the most important thing in my life.
Right.
So I wonder if that like file, to a certain degree, if I'm not mistaken, Alex is the one that takes it away, because
he is the one that takes it away.
At Dolph. So I wonder if like he saved something of Dolph there just in case.
Oh, okay.
Like saying
potentially.
Like, even like, I love you so much that even though like I'm willing to sacrifice you, there's no way I'm gonna lose you.
Right. Potentially. I mean, I feel like they could go in a lot of directions with a potential season 2, just because of how, I mean, we're going back and forth on this. This world is so big that anything is possible. And I like that, because you don't have a lot of shows that can do something like that. Like, I'm going to bring up Castlevania. Whatever our predictions are for Castlevania Nocturne Season 2, it is limited to a degree, because, you know, it's like, okay, you know, they fight vampires, they're vampire hunters. It's limited. There's a set rule that you have to follow in the context of Castlevania. With this, it could go anywhere. It really can. And any theory is plausible. What Dr. Mondo mentioned is plausible. What Grandmaster Who mentioned was plausible. What Toasty doesn't have good theories, but whatever he mentioned is plausible. Like, you just never know. You don't know. And that's what I loved about this show. It left on a cliffhanger, yes, but I'm satisfied. I'm left satisfied with everything that we got in this season. Absolutely everything. I want a season 2. At the time of recording this, no green light yet for a season 2 yet. I would hope it does, because we got Castlevania greenlit like within a couple days of it being watched.
Castlevania had the backing. This thing needs word of the mouth, which I think it's getting.
I hope it's getting.
That was the mistake with this show. I felt like nobody talked about it. I didn't know about it until it came out.
I feel that works. It works in its favor, and it works against it at the same time. Like, really good word of the mouth will skyrocket this series, but at the same time, you know, if you don't put the hype around it going in, that obviously could be a detriment. So here we are talking about it. We are part of the solution.
We will be the reason why Captain Laserhawk gets season 2.
They'll be thanking us. We have cameos as rabbits in season 2.
Oh God, please! I would love to see the
like
rabbits.
I want to be an assassin. It's as simple as that. You know, even if they
can't speak French.
He can be
parle français.
Omelette du fromage.
That's all.
Omelette du
fromage. Je parle français. Toasty.
Toasty's the only.
Toasty, oui. Je m'appelle Dr. Jace. Oui.
Of course, I'm gonna do it with that accent. I mean, to be fair, with the assassin, they can always introduce other assassins.
They could, yeah.
He did say he was the last of his
brotherhood
organization, but we know that's a lie.
Give me a freaking coquille there. Give me a coquille.
Oh wow, a coquille. That would, you know what? That would be hilarious. That'll be
You're
good.
asking for too much.
No, representation matters.
Fine. Give me the black assassin.
You're asking for too much. You're asking for too much.
I'm just saying, like that's some good assassination. You just hear that.
We couldn't hear you.
Yeah,
but
that's the whole point. It's too high pitch.
That's okay. But season 1 was great. I mean, all right. Overall thoughts of season 1. I guess if you want to give it an arbitrary score, I'm telling you guys right here, right now, 10 out of 10. This show was perfect. Well, did it have problems? Yeah, a few.
No, it's not perfect.
Maybe.
Don't give it a 10 out of 10, right?
No, it deserves a 10. You don't have to be a perfect to get a 10 out of 10. You just have to you just have to excel so well in what you do, right? That whatever fumbles that you're on, because the only thing that I could say that they fumbled on, and it's something so minor that I'm not giving it a 9.5 just for it. That whole thing with like the live action bit, I was like, I wasn't a fan of that style that they chose to go with, and they stuck with it for quite a while. They're like, oh man, they're really stuck like this. It was almost an
entire episode.
Yeah, it was for like an episode and a half, I think.
It was just that one episode, yes.
But outside of that, everything about this show was fantastic. It's better than Castlevania Nocturne. I don't know if I'll go as far as to say, better than first 2 seasons of Castlevania. I don't know if I'll say that. But
no, it's not. Come on.
But this show, Toasty, because I know what your garbage take is gonna be. This show is a 10 out of 10. And is there some bias for me because I'm aware of some of these brands and IPs in here? Sure, but underneath that layer is a really fantastic show, fantastic characters, great depth, and just a fantastic mythos that I can't wait to see them expand on. 10 out of 10. I was at that score earlier in the week, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll calm down from then. Maybe the craze will simmer down. Nope, 10 out of 10 still. It's perfect.
9.5 out of 10.
9.5, okay. Nines. I like it. Now, I'm going to wait for the 2 people that are going to give their takes. Go ahead. Whoever wants to give their wrong take first, by all means, step right up.
I don't want to speak because I feel like I'm going to be in trouble.
The circus, the circus tent is set.
No, I have to speak for the people. It's an 8.5.
That's good.
I give it an 8.5. It was way better than Castlevania Nocturne in comparison, because I think I gave Castlevania Nocturne a 7.5, and that was due to nostalgia, really, with the previous, the prequel, I guess. This show was good. It did a lot of good things, but for me, I didn't like the live action. That was one part I hated. Absolutely hated that episode, and I don't know. It's an interesting show if you're an Ubisoft fan. If you're not an Ubisoft fan, it might still pull you in. But,
did it pull you in?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because of the humor, not because it was really Ubisoft characters.
But did you enjoy the like any of the drama, the characters?
The character was fine. The character story, I enjoyed all of the characters. I enjoyed the Bullfrog. I enjoyed Rayman, Ramon, for example. I enjoy the fact that you just mentioned the Sigma thing with the chair. That's
a deep cut. It's like,
that set up the sequel. But for me, it was still missing a little something. Add them in higher level.
A little bit of spicy mayo. It's missing the spicy mayo.
A little bit of spicy mayo. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's a solid 8.5. If you don't like Ubisoft's thing, if you don't consume every Ubisoft game like Dr. Jace, you're gonna enjoy it. But
so
if you don't like Dr. Jace, obviously you have some bias. I'm assuming Ubisoft must be paying you for this.
I'm waiting for my check. Go on.
But yeah, that's it.
Go on, Grandmaster. Go ahead. Close us out. I already know what's coming.
Don't be
Oh
afraid.
yeah, 'cause
Go ahead.
God forbid I give it anything closely to the score I gave Quantumania.
Why are you bringing up Quantumania? This has nothing to do.
I'm bringing it up because now you don't have to. There you go. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wow.
Wow.
And I give it a 9 because I think
Better than
conceptually,
Eternals.
yes, hella lot better than Eternals. Yes.
Wow.
Illusion.
But again, very similar to Eternals. A cast of characters I had no idea about, and yet I walking away liking these characters a lot more than 2/3 of the characters introduced in Eternals. But no, I just think it's a fun concept, and I think they really did well with the Sandbox style of, you know, introducing these characters from all these Ubisoft IPs, and again, I look at it, it gives me Scott Pilgrim vibes. It's a love letter to video games. I really dig those moments. Those really made it stand out for me. Even the live action bit. It's not my favorite of the bits, but I like them being bold. Like they're doing daring things in this show. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And overall, it is an enjoyable show. The action, the characters. Oh man. But yeah, no, I do think it was a better outing than Nocturne. I did enjoy this more than I did Nocturne, definitely. But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
And I think you need more shows like this that strike that balance between seriousness, comedy, and then just overall spectacle. There's not another show like this out that I can think of.
Not one.
No, but you know, I think this really highlights, if we want to kind of say, you know, like this video game adaptation renaissance. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say adaptation, but video game renaissance in general.
No, yeah, but
think
I
you
mean,
can.
like media, as in like series, movies, shows.
Well, that's why I just say renaissance, because they are simply now looking at video games as a worthwhile medium investment.
Yeah, that they're cool characters there. They're cool stories to tell, and like there's a lot that you can pick from.
Yeah, and that's what's great about the show is that it's not an adaptation, that it can really just do its own thing.
It just takes the characters. It takes the characters and explores them in a myriad of different ways. But again, like this just like highlights what like is going on now with video games. There we had Cyberpunk, the Netflix anime,
Cyberpunk Edgerunners,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
We have this.
Yeah.
We
have Castlevania.
We have Castlevania. Like if we want to go to movies, we have Super Mario. We have
the Devil May Cry coming out also.
Devil May Cry that's coming out. Assassin's Creed that's coming out. I think God of War is coming out in Prime.
I think there's a Splinter Cell anime that's going to be made too. At some point. Yeah, it's crazy.
Ubisoft is finally saying, let's stop making games.
There's Last of Us as well.
There's The Last of Us too.
There's Sonic 3 coming out next year.
Can you see all of me? Walk into my mystery. Step inside.
I don't watch Sonic, so
anyways,
that's the Shadow the Hedgehog.
We are indeed in a video game renaissance, and I'm for it. Give me more shows that are adaptations, and give me more shows that are even like this, that are just shows with the characters in them. I'll take it.
And I don't know about you guys. I hope they keep doing the animated version of those shows, because when it's animated, the limitations are so much less than if it's live action. And I think that's what.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.